Let's talk about how AI is completely turning project governance on its head. We're shifting from a reactive, backward-looking chore into a truly powerful, forward-looking strategy.
All right, let's dive right in. Think about traditional project management. It's kind of like trying to drive a car by only looking in the rearview mirror. You're constantly just reacting to problems that have already happened. But this new approach, predictive governance, well, that's like having a high-tech navigation system that sees traffic jams miles down the road, so you can steer clear of trouble before you even get there.
The core problem with the old way is its total reliance on what are called lagging indicators. What that really means is most companies are just stuck in this reactive loop, always playing catch-up, always trying to control damage that's already been done. It's a huge weakness because you're only spotting problems after they've already started to mess with your deadlines and your budgets.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the problem of hindsight, then talk about the shift to foresight. After that, we'll get into how to build the AI foundation, see the system in action, and wrap it up with the huge strategic edge all this gives you.
So, the big question is, how do we actually break free from this constant reactive cycle? Well, the answer is a pretty fundamental shift to something called predictive project governance. And believe me, this isn't just some small upgrade, it's a total game changer. We're moving from looking at old, stale reports to having a real-time early warning system.
And here is the absolute key. We're shifting from just documenting what went wrong in the past to actively predicting future risks. This proactive approach gives your organization an invaluable head start. We're talking about getting the ability to step in and protect your most critical project milestones before they're ever really in danger.
Now, this might sound a bit like magic, but it's really not. It's a systematic, data-driven approach. And to get those incredible predictive insights, you have to start by building a rock-solid foundation.
And that foundation is all about data integrity. This part is completely non-negotiable. If you want to move from relying on gut feelings to having genuine data-backed insights, the AI has to be trained on high-quality data. It needs an accurate picture of your past projects, all the successes and all the failures.
So to get that complete picture, the AI relies on a data architecture built on 3 strategic pillars. Think of it like this. Each one feeds the model critical information, giving it a full 360-degree view of your project's real health.
Let's break these pillars down a bit. First, you've got your schedule data. Pretty straightforward. Plan versus actual dates. Then there's execution data, which is all about your team's real-world productivity and completion rates. And finally, you have governance data, which keeps an eye on the administrative health, like a growing backlog of unresolved issues. When you bring these 3 together, you suddenly get this rich, multidimensional view of what's really happening.
With all that data in place, the model starts to learn what to look for, the red flags. And the first and most common one is schedule variance. Is there a gap growing between the plan and reality? That's almost always the first sign of trouble.
But it goes deeper. The system also looks for resource bottlenecks. Are your key teams just completely overloaded? Because an overworked team can create a domino effect of delays that ripple across the entire project.
And then it monitors the project's governance health. A growing pile of unresolved issues or change requests often signals deep instability, long before it ever shows up in the schedule. It's telling you that the project's entire support structure is starting to buckle.
So, at the very heart of this system is a machine learning model that's been trained specifically on your organization's project history. It learns from your past successes and, maybe even more importantly, your past failures. That's how it gets so good at spotting those subtle early warning signs of trouble ahead. Okay, now for the really exciting part. Let's take a look at how this all comes together as a living, breathing system that actually turns these predictions into real-world results, day in and day out.
The first thing you've got to understand is that this is not a static weekly report that you have to wait for. No way. Once it's deployed, the AI model is analyzing live project data continuously, 24/7, watching for any little deviation as it happens, in real time.
So when the system spots a risk pattern it recognizes, it generates a real-time alert. But it's not some vague alarm. It quantifies the risk, like here, a 70% probability of delay, and it gives you a specific, actionable recommendation to work with.
But look, getting an alert is only half the battle, right? To make this all truly effective, you have to operationalize it. That just means having a clear process to make sure these early warnings are addressed quickly and consistently every single time.
And here's exactly how that works.
Governance becomes driven by the system itself. You use predefined rules based on the risk score to make sure the right people get alerted at the right time. A risk over 60%, that pings the project manager. But if it hits a critical 90%, that goes straight to the executive steering committee. It takes all the guesswork out of it and creates clear accountability.
So what's the bottom line here? Why go through all the trouble of building a system like this? The answer is pretty simple, actually. It's about gaining a powerful, long-term strategic edge.
For anyone in a leadership position, the huge benefit is clarity. All this complex data analysis gets boiled down into simple, easy-to-read executive dashboards. It empowers leaders with a real-time view of the entire project portfolio, so they can focus their attention where it's truly needed most.
For instance, a leader can just glance at a dashboard and instantly see that Project Alpha has a 72% probability of delay. That's not a gut feeling anymore. It's a data-driven forecast that lets them ask the right questions and drive action before it becomes a crisis.
And this right here really shows the fundamental difference. Traditional reporting tells you about a problem after you've already missed the milestone. It's too late. Predictive governance, on the other hand, can alert you weeks earlier, giving you the time and the options to actually do something about it.
So, in the end, making this shift to predictive governance leads to very concrete results. You spot risks way earlier, you intervene faster to keep projects on track, you protect your most important deadlines, and you build a much more resilient organization that can consistently deliver on its promises.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. If your organization is still trying to manage projects by looking in the rearview mirror, what could you truly achieve with a clear, data-driven view of the road ahead? Because this really isn't just about better task management, it's about making sure your most critical strategic goals are met with precision and with confidence.